The results are in, and Toyota has just smashed so many of their all-time records: production, sales, profit, and the future is looking bright for the Japanese automaker. Over at the Toyota Times, it's kind of Toyota's in-house news publication, but they have a very pleasing breakdown of just the basics here. Then we'll head over to automotive news, where we'll sink our teeth into it a little bit more, and then we'll talk about the other end of the spectrum for Japanese automakers, and a lack of demand for Nissan and how that's affecting dealers here in North America. But let's start with Toyota here, smashing records across the board. The three biggest factors for them this past fiscal year that ended March 31st, 2024. Pandemic is over finally. Chip shortages are over, and the soaring cost of materials has put a dent into what could have been an even more impressive earnings for the record-breaking Toyota. All right, so this is all in yen. When we go to automotive news, they'll convert this to dollars for us, but check this out. Essentially, their net income, their profit is up 70% compared to last year, and I believe last year was already a record high. So they're just crushing it. Their production was up 9%. Their sales were up 7%. Shareholders are getting better returns than we've ever seen before. So if you bought Toyota stock or been a long Toyota stock, like, their market price has been soaring this past year. But let's get into the forecast for 2025. This is getting pretty exciting. Well, they're actually expecting to sell more units. However, sales will decline in Japan due to Hino and Daihatsu still getting their crap together after all the scandals that they've went through. So they're expecting essentially a flat line in sales compared to last year. Down in Japan, up in the United States, or should I say North America, down in Europe just a little bit they're expecting. And then Asia is actually going to be up despite China cooling off. And then we have Oceania up a little bit as well, as what they're expecting for 2025. Now, this is very interesting here. Electrified vehicle sales was 37% of the total at the end of the 2024 fiscal year, which just ended. And they're saying a year from now, it'll be almost up to 50%. With my estimations here in North America anyways, it'll be even higher than 46%. Essentially, if you round up, it'll be 50%, maybe even higher. We'll see, but this is my estimations. And then a year later here in North America, it could be as high as 61, 62% of electrification penetration of the multi-prong approach with fuel cells, whatever. That's like one vehicle. The Mirai doesn't sell anything, but hybrids are taking over. We'll have more plug-in hybrids too entering into the fray, which is very exciting, from crossovers and pickup trucks. We'll also have more EVs hitting the market, especially the three-row EVs. So it is changing fast for Toyota. The wave of electrification is coming in multiple aspects, not just battery electrics. Now, for next year, they're expecting the sales revenue to be up, but their operating income and net income will be down compared to last year. It's not like it's negative or anything. Overall, they're still in the black, but they're investing heavily into the future for human capital investments targeting suppliers and dealers. They want to especially build up the infrastructure a little bit better in Japan to secure their future. For capital investment, they're going from 700 billion yen to 1.1 trillion yen. And they're also investing more in research and development by an extra 100 billion yen. We're going to move on over to automotive news. Hans Greimel, he is their journalist that lives over in Japan. He has a nice scoop and a good feel of the most important aspects of this financial briefing from Toyota. And specifically, those investments are going into growth technologies that we just detailed, such as electrification, software-defined vehicles, and artificial intelligence, to the tune of 11.2 billion US dollars. That's an increase of $3.3 billion versus last year. Toyota's operating profit in US dollars nearly doubled to 35.4 billion. And what's mind-blowing here is the unbelievable demand for Toyota vehicles. In the US, Toyota dealers have an average 15-day supply of all their vehicles. And when we go to Nissan, you're going to see that it's like 7 times that. It doesn't make any sense. Well, it does make sense because Toyota products are better than Nissan products overall. It's not even close. But a 15-day supply for vehicles for Toyota in the United States. on the backs of hybrids. Hybrids are 5 to 8 days of inventory. Are you kidding me? Okay, so every single hybrid that's coming into a Toyota dealer is essentially pre-sold. That there's no other way to make sense of that. And remember, Toyota said their hybrids are equally profitable. The research and development they poured into it all the years back, 20 years ago, starting with the Prius, has now made them so affordable to develop that they actually cost less than gasoline cars. And you can charge a slight premium. Now that the Camry is fully hybridized too, like, it's just a sign of things to come. I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, I'm almost 100% confident that the RAV4 will be 100% electrified with plug-in hybrid and possibly fully battery electric. I wouldn't be surprised if pickup trucks in the future, like the Tundra Sequoia, could be hybridized standard with plug-in hybrids coming. So, like, the wave of electrification is definitely coming for Toyota, which seems like a genius idea because they're pretty much pre-selling all of their hybrids. They don't have to incentivize any of their hybrids right now, or probably any of their models in general. So Toyota absolutely crushing it. Toyota is expecting battery electric vehicles to get to about 171,000 for the fiscal year ending in 2025, which is an increase of 46%. That's actually nowhere near the projections I was expecting. Now, these were not final. These intermediary years. I think it was by 2026, they said 1.5 million BEVs, and then 2030, there's 3.5 million BEVs sold per year. Time will tell, especially with the shifting sands of legislation and consumer demand on EVs. But yeah, 800,000 EVs at the end of 2025, I don't think that's going to happen, but time will tell. So with a 15-day supply for Toyota, we're going to head to Nissan, and it's just the complete opposite situation for this volume struggling Nissan brand. A nearly triple-digit day supply. So Toyota's closer to single digits than they are to triple digits with a 15-day supply here in the United States. Nissan vehicles are sitting around like 7 times longer. So this is the big news right now. Starting May 1st, the dealers could make their entire 2024 model lineup up to 10% below invoice. And the aging Armada may be advertised up to 15% below invoice. Now, Nissan's given them the green light to do this, but it's also like bittersweet. The dealers would rather have Nissan actually offer incentives to bring down the cost of the vehicle instead of the dealers themselves having to eat into their own profits. Okay. The relationship between dealers and Nissan were already like as bad as possible, but maybe not. This could be actually souring things because on one hand, it seems like it's a good idea because now they can sell their vehicles for less, but it's below invoice. So the dealers are losing money on those cars. But what makes it even worse, if we scroll down, one dealer is paying $80,000 a month just to keep his lot of 200 vehicles there. They're not selling, right? It takes 3 months or so for Nissan to sell a car, and that's costing the dealers tens of thousands of dollars. And so this dealer says, hey, I don't mind this deal with Nissan right now where we can sell below invoice because I need to reduce my inventory, my floor plan expenses, and that's fine with them. So what does this mean for consumers? Ooh, you might be able to get some really good deals. The only cars I'd recommend to buy from Nissan would be the Armada, the Z, the GTR. Those are very niche. The Pathfinder and the Frontier. The rest of them I would lease. I would not buy anything from the Nissan lineup, not finance anything, and only lease anything that has a CVT. Like I said, the Pathfinder, go ahead and buy. It's a good car. Get a good deal on it. The Frontier is one of my favorite midsize, if not my favorite midsize pickup truck. And the Armada is fantastic. It's just old, and it is very expensive for what it is. So according to Cox Automotive, Nissan's days supply, including vehicles en route to dealers, hovered at 98 at the end of March, the highest inventory of any full-line brand. And Nissan said they wouldn't return to sales tactics that we saw with Carlos Ghosn pre-pandemic. but they've reverted to their old ways here, and the dealers are not happy. And while discount pricing helps address Nissan's near-term supply headache, it hurts the franchise long-term. I've made past videos that when we see these cheap prices or the amount of fleet deals that Nissan does, it destroys residual value. And so why buy a Nissan that plummets in value for the same price as a Honda or Toyota or Subaru for that matter, even Mazda, all these other Japanese brands that keep their value far better than a Nissan. Nissan does not require retailers to advertise these below invoice prices, but it might not be a choice for some. You have this sub-market of Nissan dealers that are all trying to undercut each other in prices at this point because they can't, as this dealer said, we're not chasing down the Toyota guy or the Honda guy, we're chasing down each other. So these Nissan dealers are just fighting for the scraps, the small market of Nissan buyers that currently exist. This dealer says, I don't need to lose money on the Pathfinder and Frontier because people come in and buy them at MSRP and I make profit for them. They are good buy vehicles, in my opinion. I already talked about that. Some dealers will take losses as long as they can get a trade-in and financing on that customer. One dealer says, in the end, very few vehicles will leave the lot at the advertised cut rate price. You can't sell new cars at 10% below invoice and stay in business. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare for Nissan. It's like the worst case scenario for Nissan, no trust between the company Nissan itself and the dealers, and they just can't sell their models. On the other hand, Toyota can't even keep any cars on their lots. They're selling so fast. It's a very interesting situation going on in the market where there's just a few brands that are still red hot with demand, but most of the market is really cooling off. Nissan being one of the fastest to hit some dire straits already here in mid 2024. But definitely stay tuned for the updates on the channel. And the sad thing is, I don't think Nissan has any exciting product coming from top to bottom on the lineup in the near future. There are no hybrids in their lineup. And here's Toyota and Honda, for example, laughing their way to the bank as they can't even keep their hybrids in stock or even on the lot. They're sold, they're pre-sold. So, wow. Anyways, I got to shut it down. I'll see you guys in the comments. Have a great day and peace.